Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. Welcome back to another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. It's been slightly less busy this week, there have been fewer events on, but still plenty of stuff to spend your stamina on. We've had the Champion Stadium as always, still in Johto, probably moving on to a new region next week. We've had the Town Square Street Fair event, we've had a new egg event, and we've still got the daily regional rotation to get our battle points in. So yeah, a few things still going on. Also, Solgaleo is still being the beast that devours the sun. So let's get into the Champion Stadium. I don't know about anyone else, but I found this week to be a little bit nuggety. So the strategies and the plans that I was putting in place, they kind of worked, but they didn't work as well as I was hoping they would. It was like, they get you close, and you need that little bit of luck to take you over the top. So, not a difficult or impossible week by any stretch of the imagination. It was just a bit like, oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? But starting off with round 1, in which you get a special attack boost, I thought that this would be a good one to take on Koga, as Koga was weak to ice types. So I put together a team of Getsis and Curium, Rosa and Superior. I've said that those two pair very well together in the past. Makes me think of pairing cheeses and wines. And I went with Chansey as well to round out the team this week. I don't think I've used Chansey in the Champion Stadium before. I thought, well, good opportunity to get her off of the bench and into the game. She has a special attack boost for the team, and she can also do some healing, so I thought that would go well with Rosa boosting special attack, but only able to heal herself, but also boosting the move gauge. In terms of conditions for this one, Curium has Glaciate, which can cause freezing, so you want to keep status conditions on. I also had a little bit of success with Noble Roar and reducing stats, so if you want to have stats reductions on, make sure that you don't tick that box. They're sort of two strategies that can work in conjunction, but sometimes you might have to prioritise one over the other. And you use Glaciate with Curium, 4-bar move, hits everyone, boost special attack with your two supports. I would go with Rosa's special attack boosts first, because they're ones that can get an MP refresh. Chansey doesn't really have a grid to get MP refreshes, so if no one else is using the move bar, she can use a move rather than a trainer move for a move point. And so if you have Rosa at 6x, she's going to get the first sync move. After that, your sync moves are all going to go with Curium, because he can be a bit of a sync nuker. You're using Glaciate as much as possible. You're using Wahahahahaha to boost that crit hit rate as well. You can use Time to Energize with Rosa and Superior to keep that move bar topped up as much as possible. And that's useful if you're using a 4-bar move, particularly when you have the -2 on the move bar like I do for pretty much every single round I play. I always find the first round is a little bit cagey in terms of team selection, because it's like, ooh, I know that I would like to use them, but what if I need them for a more difficult round later on? So, do I play it safe? Do I save them? Or do I just go for it and to hell with the consequences? But if you get some good freezing in there, if you get some crit hits off of Glaciate, you should be able to do this one without too many problems. For round number 2, the condition was any field effects that either side puts on are permanent. I saw Bruno was weak to grass this week, and I'm like, Bruno, I'm looking at you for this one. Thinking of Solar Team, we get some sunshine going. So usually that would be Meganium, Sceptile, and Erica with Vileplume. Didn't quite do enough for me for this one, so I subbed in Alakazam and Sabrina in that one for her Reflect and for her Sixth Sense, which is going to do a bit of healing as well. And the strategy for this one was you have Meganium sync first to set that sunshine, and then Brendan just blows everyone away with his sync move and with Leaf Storm. It wasn't quite that easy, because although you had Reflect on to reduce the physical damage coming at you, Bruno was still packing a bit of a punch. So especially with his crit hits, you've got to be wary of those. So you might want to have your first target to have Vigilance as their lucky skill. And yeah, Brendan just wasn't outputting the damage that I was expecting for, I don't know, for whatever reason. I think the thing that always frustrates me about Meganium is that it's quite glassy. It doesn't have high defense or special defense stats. It has a lot of HP, but it can get taken down very easily. So you might want to sacrifice having that solar team in exchange for someone who can raise defense. So someone like a Jasmine, who also has critical hit defense for the team when she uses Clang. But if you're going with a Sun team, Meganium sets Sun, Brendan raises his stats, you've got plenty of ways to raise your crit hit rate here. Sabrina is the team healer, so she's keeping everyone topped up, and if you get some good move point refreshes, and if you get some critical hits in there, then you shouldn't have too many problems. The sides can be a bit troubling because they'll use things like Earthquake and Rock Slide, which hit everyone on your team. If you don't take out his Onyx, it's going to use Bulldoze from time to time. It'll get to a point, if you get far enough into the battle, where it uses exclusively Bulldoze, which can take you down very quickly. So it's striking that balance between doing enough damage to the sides so that they don't get too many Rock Slides in, also taking down Onyx so that he's not just bulldozing you straight out of the way. In the third round, you get a physical attack reduction. The only real trainer in the Elite Four that this goes well against would be Bruno, and it's like, yeah, but no one else has the permanent field effects. Like, there's no fire types to take advantage of Sunny Day, or water types to take advantage of Rainy Day, so it's a bit like, I suppose you could have used an ice team instead and taken on Koga, but then if you don't have one of the premier ice units, it's like, doesn't really do much for you. So I chose to take on Will for this one. Will was weak to dark types. If you have Mighty Ina, that's probably your go-to there. I only have Karen and Houndoom as my main dark striker. I have her Umbreon, but I've not got into leveling her up and gridding her out yet. And I thought, you know what, I'll just pair it with two really strong supports in Xerneas and Swanna, and I'll kind of tank through with those guys and do a fair amount of damage. And it worked really well as a strategy, especially if you sync with Xerneas earlier on. That's going to raise your special defense in addition to the other stats. Swanna is going to raise your speed and your defense and will sync second, and then all your sync moves after that will be with Karen to get Mega Houndoom and to be able to use Dark Pulse. If you're going to be using Snarl as a bit of a strategy, that's going to lower everyone on the opposing team's special attack. Remember to take off no stats reductions if you've got that on already, and it's going to make life a lot more easier for you. As I said, this strategy worked reasonably well, and I was able to take out the sides before taking out Jinx in the middle. It gave me that luxury because you've got a fair amount of healing with Xerneas and the world is vast, and Swanna with her potions as well. You won't need to use Entertain Me with Karen, that's one of her trainer moves, because you're going to get that special attack boost from Xerneas' sync move, and it's like, why use that trainer move when you could be using a Snarl, for example, to reduce that special attack, or a Bite to try and get some flinching done. It's always the sync move that's going to worry you, but if you've raised your special attack as high as you can and you've had a decent amount of Snarls take down the other team's special attack, it's not going to do too much damage to you, and you'll be in a position to either have casual healing with the world is vast or a potion in there to keep you topped up. So health shouldn't be too much of an issue on this one. And unlike when he has Xatu, Jinx doesn't have Impervious, so the stats can be lowered. It's like, Will, I got you in the end, didn't I? Round 4 comes with the condition of a sync move stats boost, which is very useful, as I've said before, if you're going with 6x support units to raise those stats. I was left with Karen. She was weak to fighting types. I've invested in B, so obviously I'm going to use her as my main striker. I thought, right, okay, which 6x supports do I have left over? I had Hilbert and Jasmine, so I went with the 2 of those, and I thought, 1 6x boost, 2 6x boost, then the rest is going to be Surfetched going to work. That was the plan. It didn't quite turn out like that because Karen's sync move is special attack. I hadn't really raised the special defense of the team, so when her sync move came, it wiped out Surfetched. So didn't get to do any sync moves with the leak sword. Bit unfortunate there, but thankfully I'd done enough damage with Meteor Assault both to the middle and to the 2 sides that Hilbert and Jasmine were able to clear up in the end. If I haven't said it before, I'm going to say it now. If you've got a physical attacker, especially one with Inertia or Haymaker in their grid, Hilbert is going to be that unit's best friend because it raises speed, attack, crit hit rate. So if you are going with a strategy that involves that, you want Hilbert as one of your supports. You can also grid him to have endurance, which is always useful. As I said, having the 2 6x units was a bit of overkill, so I probably should have done away with one of them and just stuck with one, and then I could have used a sync move with Surfetched much earlier. Its sync move does a lot of damage, Surfetched, so you might want to be focusing down the sides with your Meteor Assault and then coming in with a big sync move in the middle. I tried to take a screenshot of a second run through where I did do that and did like 20k damage, which is a plentiful amount, but I wasn't quick enough on the buttons. So if you focus those 2 down and you're left with just the middle, you can sync nuke it and get it out of there. An alternative support would be someone like Liza, who can also raise attack, but she also can raise the special defense. Or maybe Salamence, who raises defense and special defense and also provides move gauge boost, which is useful if you've got that 4-bar Meteor Assault and it's going to mean that move bar usage is kind of limited. And so on to the final dance with the champion lance. Oh, that rhymed. I didn't realise that was going to rhyme. And your permanent condition for this one is a move gauge refill boost. Your optional condition, the one I chose, was permanent field effects because I was going with an electric team. Electric team means Volkner for electric terrain. I also chose Elisa with Zebstreaker as my striker. I was like, Zebstreaker, Hao and Raichu, we'll go with Zebstreaker and see how that goes, and if not, we'll switch it out later. And then the third one, Signasuit Blue and Blastoise, is always a good unit to put in there for team endurance and raising the defense. And so Blastoise is the first one to sync. He also has To the Top, which is going to give a permanent, even faster move gauge boost. I don't think it works like that, actually. I think the move gauge boost just stays as it is. But if you use it after it's expired, then it'll do it again. Again, not entirely sure how that works. But you want to be raising Zebstreaker's attack, and then from there you want to be using Spark to try and raise that speed. If you've got her grid for inertia, that's really going to help with your big sync move. Volkner is going to set electric field. It's going to use its trainer move to raise everyone's accuracy, which is always helpful. And then from there, you're just trying to output as much damage as possible. You can also try and sync up your sync move with a critical hit using Electrify, and that will make your sync move even more powerful. I managed to do this one first time, so I got some good luck with some flinching from Volkner going on. I got some paralysis and some misses from that. I had a Hyper Beam miss as well from Gyarados, which I was very thankful for. And it is just a case of you do Spark at Gyarados, you take out one side, you take out the other side, and then you take out Gyarados hopefully with a big sync move and feel like a big player. Swinging down by your knees. And that is another 7,500 point run from me. Hopefully all what I was going for was clear. All of the pitfalls that go along with it were clear as well. If you have any questions about it, ask in the comments and I'll try to answer as best as I can. Hopefully though, you're in the Hall of Fame. You got that nice animation of all the trainers going, ha ha, okay. And we'll do it all again next week. I think actually next week is still on Johto, and then we move somewhere else the week after. So in next week's video, I'll try and find out where we're moving on to. The main event that I've been spending my stamina on has been the Town Square Street Fair. We're on to the last week of that, so if you haven't done all of the challenges for that, if you haven't got all of the rewards that you want, make sure that you get in over the next week and you get all of those so that you're not left there thinking, oh, all those tomes that I missed. I personally am going to be grinding through it even more to try and get those bronze 3-star tickets. Another thing I've been working on is upgrading all of my 3-star units to 4 stars. I've got 3 left. I've got Wolfric and Avalugg, Crash Awake, and who's the third one? I think it's Marley. Was it Marlene Arcanine is the third one, so I only need another like 40 or so and I'm done. So the first new event we had this week was an egg event. The types in it are going to be grass types and poison types. I think it's mostly Bulbasaurs, Zubats and female Nidorans. There's some fairly decent rewards from hatching eggs, so make sure that you have your incubators going until you get those. After that, not sure it matters too much, but it's also a good opportunity to get rid of some of your skip tickets. When I realise I'm low on eggs, I just like, I'll just use whatever team I've got already and then do like 20, and usually I get 8 eggs out of it. And then the latest event is the Star of the Contest. This event feels so familiar. I can't quite tell yet. I haven't figured out whether we've had this before and it's just a rerun, or if it is a new event that has a lot of similarities to a previous event. I go back and forth. So you get bonuses from using Rosa and Serperia, Dawn and Torterra, and Lyra and Meganium. I feel like you should have at least 2 of those if you've been playing for a while. Lyra and Dawn have been in the game for quite a while, so hopefully you have, well, I have all 3, but hopefully you have at least 2 of them to get the rewards boost from that one. The daily challenge is challenging Wallace. At the moment it says part 1, so I'm thinking maybe there's going to be a part 2. That would make sense. Why have a part 1 if you're not going to have a part 2? And there are 2 challenges that come along with it. The first one is using only main characters and the second one is using only Sinnoh pairs. So it's not that difficult of a battle. The only thing I would say to be wary of is that the 2 side golems, both of them have explosion. So you want to take them out before they both use that, because that's going to knock out, it's a 1-hit KO. So you want to make sure that it's the Alolan Golem's going to use it first and then the standard one is going to use it second. So make sure you get rid of those guys quickly before they can destroy your team with explosion. There are some good rewards to be had from this event. There's not too many boxes to go through, so it's kind of a minor event, but hopefully it'll keep you entertained with your stamina for long enough. It lasts for quite a while. I think there's at least 2 weeks on it, so you don't have to rush out and be like, oh my god, I need to use all of my stamina straight away to get all of those rewards before it goes away. Chill. And I feel like when the Town Square event ends, I'm going to be splitting my time between the contest and between Solgaleo to make sure that I get both of those tied up and finished off reasonably soon. And that's it, another week that was in the books. And what a week it was. Haven't we all grown? Aren't we all better people now? But you're well past the 90-second marker at this point. Thank you very much and congratulations for making it this far. Hopefully you've enjoyed it enough that you think, I'd like to see more of that. Well, good news, you can. There's a playlist of previous week's Pokemon Masters. You can subscribe to the channel for notifications of future videos. You can follow me on Twitter, where I will be tweeting about the week that will be. Thank you very much for watching this one, and goodbye.